Hello class, I'm going to show you how to do that 9th audit step where we want to summarize the number of transactions in a day and the number of transactions in a month. The first thing that I need to do, I have the days because I have transaction date, but I don't have a variable for a month. So the first thing that I'm going to do is create a variable for a month. So I'm going to go over here to the data tab and I'm going to add a new variable. It says add a new field to the database. That is what I want to do. So I'm going to hit plus, and it wants to know the name. So I'll just call it month. Apparently it's going to be all caps. And then the parameter, so I'm going to go into this equation field, and you've seen this before when we were pulling out the May transactions. So I know how to speak IDEA language, and that, so at month means return the month within the transaction date. So at the @ sign, month, and then in parentheses transaction date, and that should color up blue to recognize that it's a variable. So it's extracting the month out of another field, the transaction date. And then I'll check it up here. And it liked it, so I put it in that parameter. It's going to be an added field, and it's going to be numeric, and then I'm going to hit OK. And so if you scroll all over here, you can see, well, I had already added month, so it added another month here. And so that's how you would add a month. And I can delete one of these because I don't need most of them, but remove fields. Okay, so I would just need a 1 month column. So there it is, and it starts at 1 because 1 is January. So let's go over here and verify. Transaction date is January. Okay, so when it turns to February, I better see those go to 2, and it does. And then when it goes to March, and then April, and that's as far as it goes. So it is the month of the year. It's not going to have the JAN for January. So that's month 1. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to analysis, and I'm going to go to summarization. And what I want is by cardholder, I want the transaction date. How many actions were there for each cardholder in a day? Because one of our controls is so many transactions in a day. And I'm not going to have any statistics down here. I don't want. So if any of this is clicked, unclick it. Okay, unclick it. And that's all I want. And so then I'm going to hit OK. And so this tells me for each person, for each day that they had activity, how many transactions. So I'm going to double click. Remember how if you double click, it sorts highest to lowest. And the next time you double click, it does lowest to highest. So here I have some folks that are above the 8 per day or whatever the control was per day. So you could report those. You could export this as evidence into your audit program file, and you could report these that are having more than the number allowed per day. So now let's do that for the month. So I'm going to do summarization by cardholder by month. And where is my month here? Oh, you know what I did? Guess what it's trying to do? It's trying to do the activity on this summarization instead of on the January through April file. All right, which is why I always try to remember to close out my files when I'm not using them. And so this one is the summary by date. I could have named this at the time, but okay. Seems like my caps lock key is permanently down. Oh well. All right, so now I'm back to my January through April. Hit the summarization, and I'm going to do cardholder and then month. And I'm not going to click anything over here, and no statistics. Okay, and then hit OK. And now I have, for Sheila, she had transactions in February, March, and April, but not in January, and so forth. So let me double click here and double click one more time. And now I have folks that are more than however many we were allowed in a month. You can certainly find them here and export this and summarize it in Excel. So I think the monthly limit is 100. So you really just have 2 people that have exceeded your monthly limit. And then the daily limit of 8, you've got quite a few that, if you click back over here, if you click back, oh, for some reason, if you go back to the daily, do your little, you've got quite a few that are over the 8 per day. All right, so you know how to export these and open them once they've been saved on your machine, and then do the move copy and put them in your audit file as evidence, naming your tabs, making sure your column headings are professionally formatted, and get ready to write your report.